Good morning, folks. Let's get to it. Even though this latest solar flare event didn't even hit M range, its long duration suggests a CME has occurred. Indeed it has, on the right, seen there. The event actually began yesterday as a surface surge split and enhanced plasma filament activity west of the primary active region on our star. This led into a few hours of quiet before the southern split of the filament ripped away. Northern bit was surged again, and then plasma repopulated the lowest fields, giving us a post-release Hyder flare. We'll watch it again here. After the actual CME release, you see the bright flare afterwards. That's how it works with filaments. The flare, if any, comes after the CME. What's most interesting is that this may just be half of a chain reaction event, as the CME is visible on LASCO C2, but SOHO is also showing ejecta leaving far enough north for me to question whether there was a separate backside event. We'll update as needed. So we had that flare event this morning. Let's check the ionization of our atmosphere. You know, the flare affects the regions right below the sun in the noon position. But what's that at the polar regions, north and south, in the wake of the long-duration flare? Particle flux. Right now the eruptions have energized the heliosphere and surged high-energy protons to Earth. If we get up to that dotted line, Earth will enter a level 1 radiation storm. Looking at the sunspots now, as they exit the Earth-facing side of the sun, their delta class remains, but it does continue to decay. X-flares are unlikely, but another M or two before the exit could be expected. Got 3 days of solar wind here to show speed in yellow falling, but a bit of density rise in orange this morning. That combines with the high-energy proton bombardment to take good cuts at the sensitive meters. Earth's shield is holding just fine for now, though. Coronal holes will begin to directly face Earth today. We continue to see enhanced power in the northern opening and even a bit of an uptick in the south. Something to note, we're still firmly in the negative influence as the coronal fields have shifted north since the polar wave subsided and is almost blocking that northern opening now. Either way, we expect a sharp uptick in quakes here soon. Maybe today. Only 2 6-magnitude quakes in the first 2 weeks of March. That's 66% below average, so any uptick's really going to stand out. As for the last day, we only had a couple of moderate tremors, nothing like we're expecting soon. Antarctica rounds up increased seismicity on the western side of the Pacific. We'll actually come back to the biggest of those in just a moment. But first, only news story today comes from RSOE, where a mudslide in West Virginia has taken out a house and a church, caused evacuations, and is expected to shift even more in the coming hours. Speaking of a shift, that largest quake of the last day was just north of our previous Earth spot quake in Guam, which is fitting because the storm shifted a bit north of its predicted trajectory and has set off another Earth spot tremor as it did so. Still eyeing that one. South of that, we continue to see 2 strong systems remaining, one dawdling around here while Pam has almost made it down to the New Zealand coastline. The storm will just clip the islands, but there's already no mistaking what's nearby. Let's come to the United States. We see a low in the east capping off some winter events over there, while a Pacific moisture flow is driving another set of downpours and snowstorms to the west. Meeting another flow way to the north just inland. We've got cloud lines on both sides of the country, and tonight's warnings are all in the north, at, near, or north of the Canadian border. Europe has 2 elements to focus on. Power convergence up to a low at the North Pole, very strong. Also, a new Mediterranean low has formed in the western waters. These 2 areas keep the clouds and weather alerts tonight as usual. By the way, we'll have some significant updates to the Mobile Observatory project schedule and more coming up in a video later today, including the very first conference of our own set for this October. We've got the current conditions and shots of our star to close. It's 5:55 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Eyes open, no fear. Be safe, everyone.